I think that the number one lesson that I learned there was how to answer the age-old question in software of build versus buy. And this comes up all the time. It still comes up today on sales calls. It's oftentimes it's positioned, well, if I'm going to buy a solution, it means that I'm not going to need a team to build a solution. I don't think it's one or the other. Like one of the things that we eventually got right at Glossier, and not always, but that we were able to buy platforms that delivered an awful lot of the infrastructure, call it like 80 or 90% of the feature set that we needed. And then we had a really smart product, data, and engineering team that would build our own infrastructure around that. And when we did that, because we knew our customer best, we knew what interfaces that they were going to really resonate with them, but we didn't need to build it all from the ground up. We were able to sort of like accelerate our ability to deliver features to our customer by buying strategically, buying platforms that were open, that allowed us to extend them, and then ultimately to build around them. And I brought that forward to the mindset that we have at Chord. We really love to work with the technical teams within some of our customers and sort of hear how they want to extend the platform, build around it so that they don't have to do all of the stuff that we can do for them, but we don't want to ever put them in a box. We really want to allow them to be creative and to bend our platform over time. So it's really, how do we answer the build versus buy question a different way? I'd really like to start a different conversation, which is, how do I buy then build? Because I really think that that's where the future is going. And I think interestingly, bringing it back to AI, what I'm hearing and seeing today is because it's never been easier to build software than it is today, it's come full circle. I mean, if you think about 2012 to sort of 2015, because there wasn't an awful lot of like great commerce infrastructure there, a lot of the early movers in the digitally native or direct to consumer craze, they built it all themselves. They became full-fledged technology companies. And then over time, platforms like Shopify emerge, and then you make fewer tech investments, and you don't build anything. You just buy and kind of patch together. I have seen the arrival of composable and composability start to arrive on the scene, and now companies are getting a little bit better, I would say, at buying pieces and then composing them and building some pieces around them. And lately, I've been hearing from brands who are like, well, I think we're just going to build it all ourselves because we have AI. And they are able to build some of these foundational elements pretty quickly. If I had a crystal ball, I don't. I sometimes wish I did. I think what they're going to find is that while you can build very quickly, we can't forget the cost of maintainability. So just because we can get software built and deployed on AWS or any of the clouds to fulfill some of the tasks that I would otherwise look to a platform provider to provide, it now becomes my responsibility to maintain that and to scale it. And that's not why you became a brand in the first place, was to maintain all of this infrastructure. So it's interesting to see the cycles in how we interface with tech and how we buy it. I think we're sort of entering into this cycle where there's going to be more brands that are curious about revisiting the buy versus build. I think an awful lot of them are going to try to build. And that's great. I encourage, like, that's how you need to learn. But it'll be interesting to see what the next cycle is as we settle into how much we can build around platforms with AI as opposed to deciding to build it all ourselves. Because I've been a part of that first. We're going to build it all ourselves, and I can tell you firsthand that it's hard.